words, but it's something that grew. So like when we first came, it was like, oh, this is it. And being a preacher and part of the church, it was just natural. And so, needless to say, we've spent a lot of time together. But he's definitely helped me grow in my walk with the Lord throughout the years, listening to him preach. And there's never been a Sunday, and I mean there's never been a Sunday that he hasn't stepped on my toes. I don't know about y'all, but he stepped on my toes plenty of times. And it made me reflect on myself as a believer. And just knowing when preacher was present with me, whether it was physically or prayerfully, during my difficult times of life, he gave me much comfort and strength. He's given much of himself, not just to my family, but to all of you. And preacher and Duel became very good friends. I don't want to forget that. I think I was supposed to say that a while ago. I'm saying it now. And preacher became not just a close friend to Duel, but he was his mentor. And he was always there for him whenever he needed him. So again, it's no surprise that Shoal Creek Baptist Church is home and it's family. But during those years that he ministered to me and my family, he's been through the good and the bad with us. And I'm going to give you just an example of what he's done for my family. And maybe while I'm doing what he's done for my family, you'll think about what he's done for you and your family. I'm sure it's similar, but it'll be very different. It starts off with he baptized Lane and Wesley. Then he walked with me through my journey of cancer. And I can remember going into his office that day and telling him I was waiting for the results. Would he pray with me? And he did. And a peace came over me that I can't explain. But I'll never forget that. And he helped Duel through the trials of his family, because we all know that Duel had a difficult family, gave him a difficult time, but preacher was always there to help him through those issues. And then he was there for Parker's baby dedication. And then he was there when Duel had his accident and passed away, and did his funeral. He did my 3 sons' weddings. He was there through his journey of cancer. He was there for Kirby's baby dedication. And last but not least, he was there for Lane Deacon ordination. I did forget that he was there for Duel's ordination too. I skipped that part. So it was kind of special. He baptized Lane. He ordained Duel. He married Lane. And then he did a baby dedication for Lane. And then he ordained. He did the deacon ordination for Lane. But while he was ministering to me and my family, he was also ministering to you and your family, and doing different things for you and going through all your life's challenges and trials. He was always there ready to pray with me. I could interrupt him. I was good at doing that. He'd be in the middle of something, and he talked to me. And he'd either pray with me or he'd pray for me. Sometimes it was a phone call, and he'd pray with me through the phone. But if the Lord hadn't been with him, I'm not sure how he would have done it all. Man, I mean, you think about that. Just one family. And all these families over all the years he's been here. It's our physical needs, but what about our spiritual needs? He was here to help us grow and preach to us and teach us, set examples for us, be involved with us. And it's just overwhelming If you just stop and think about it a little bit, I'm not sure he even had any time for himself and Philip. He was too busy with us in the church. But him and the Lord really did amazing. But this is the hard part. Preacher, your journey's changing. Our journey's changing too, along with you. And new adventures await you. And they await us too. But right now, I'm more concerned about you. Because you're such a workaholic. You've got to remember to allow yourself to enjoy this time of your life. You've given so much of yourself to us over the years. It's really okay for you to take some time for yourself. Really, it really is. And the words that I've spoken this morning don't begin to express my love for Preacher as my preacher and my friend. But I'm very thankful that the Lord brought the Jones family to Shelburne Baptist Church 26 years ago. And may the Lord guide and direct you on this new journey, Preacher. And may your days be filled to the ground and overflowing with joy, happiness, and peace. You won't have all of us calling you mom. And ever needed, though, I'll be there, just like you were there for me and my family. God bless you, Preacher. And I love you very much.
So me and my family have attended Shoal Creek Baptist Church for the past 12 years. At first, I really wasn't exciting to leave the church that I've ever known my whole life, especially from transferring from a big church to a smaller church. But Philip was one of the first people to notice me from Hillcrest. So he immediately started spending time with Preacher and Philip throughout the years. A few of my favorite memories are when Preacher and Philip would surprise me in my little rec ball games, sorry. But he, not only that, he also baptized me, he married my brother and sister-in-law, and he was also there for my dad's deacon orientations. One of the important things that stand out to me is how important Preacher always felt our youth was to our church. It always feels good to know that you matter, especially at a young age. I also know that contemporary music is not everyone's worship music preference, but Preacher has always seemed to appreciate the work we put in, and he always appreciated the work we put in, and he always made it known of how much he was proud of us for all the work we put in. Thank you, Preacher, for always teaching us to be bold in our faith, and we're forever grateful for you, and we love you. Thank you, Preacher.
Okay, so I was asked to speak today also, and I'm going to tell you a little bit. I spent some time as I thought about it and I prayed about it and I gave real thoughtful consideration to this. The Lord took me to Matthew 5:5, right? And you are familiar with Matthew 5. It's the Beatitudes, right? It's where Jesus is speaking, and he tells you in that time, he says in Matthew 5:5 is, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth, right? Well, as you study the term there, meekness is not weakness. It's not that at all. It is actually humility before God. And it is a level of humility and trust in God that allows you to trust even in the most dire circumstances, as in Jesus on the cross, right? That was true meekness. Okay, we're told in Matthew 27, go forward with me in Matthew a little bit, but 27, we're told as Jesus is on the cross, that the irony here is that they say, hey, he trusts in God, let God save him now. That is a higher level of meekness than we can even imagine. Okay? That is a level of trust in God. Why am I telling you all that? Because as I'm praying about this and considering Anthony, and I'm going to call him Anthony instead of Preacher, You all don't know this, but in one of our deacons meetings many years ago, I won't go back even how far, but after the meeting, Anthony and I were talking, and he made the comment to me, just like sometimes the weight of being a preacher can be a lot. There are a lot of things relying on you. There are a lot of things tugging on you. I could go through all the various things that I'd say he's meant to my family, be it, baptizing children and baptizing grandchildren and weddings and funerals and other things that he has done for our family. I'm not going to go into those details other than tell you he exudes that meekness and that humbleness and that trust in God that we all should aspire to, that everyone should aspire to. So, finishing that story, he told me at the time, sometimes I gotta just be called Anthony. And so ever since then, I took that to heart. And I tried to just say, how are you today, Anthony? We love you. We want the best for you. Thank you for all you've done.
So, preacher 33 years, you reminded us tonight that you've been here. So, I've been fortunate to be a part of this same 33 years with you. It's been, as life, we all understand there are obstacles, challenges in our lives, and there's been no different in the 33 years that we've been here. But I will say, you always encouraged us as deacons and people to seek God's will, whatever the problem or situation was. Again, we as people sometimes want to take things on our own. But I will say, every time we sought God's will, it worked out exactly the way God planned for it to work out. To me, this chapter of your life is not even, because I remember a time you stand up here and say, I'm a deacon. Once a deacon, always a deacon. So we don't just relinquish that thing. You'll always be a preacher. You'll always be ministering to somebody, bringing God's word to it. And that's really, a lot of times we look at his position as that way. That's our position too. We should be doing the same exact thing. God calls us all to bring the lost to him. And that is what we're all supposed to do. That's the Great Commission of what we do. I go back to the time I remember as a business owner in the installation business, you start very early in the morning. So there's times I used to come by here at 5 o'clock and get ice for the day. And the preacher was always here, already here studying and doing the things that cost. So like Belinda said, it's a very time-consuming position that he had. But he always found a way. If you needed him, all you had to do was text him, call him, or whatever. He would pray with you. He was always there. And many things happened in my life too. Again, that pastor relationship with his people. Many of you don't know the things that Belinda talked about may have went on in her life, in my life the same way. But he's always kept things confidential. He's always prayed. His ability to provide that spiritual growth is evident in the people that's here still today, that's been here along this same journey. So kudos to you, preacher, for a job well done. One day I know when you're up there with God, He's going to let you know all those crowns you're going to receive for having to put up with people like me and job well done. Hey, this is a great accomplishment in your life. You don't see that a lot today, that a preacher gets to stay at a place for this long term. It says a lot about who he is and what his purpose was. One thing I say about anything we do, God has a plan, we can't stop God's plan. We need to be a part of God's plan, and we need to be available to let Him work in our lives the way that He wants to work. And if we do that, this church right here will, the next chapter will even be greater than these 33 years that you was here. We love you though, brother, and I appreciate everything you've done for us.